generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah.
What do you guys think of the new song pick? War Pigs. We're in war. Joe Biden just declared war on all of us. Even people with immunity. A lot of Christians I wonder if the Amish are exempt. Is he going to go after the Amish? Revelation 17. One of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits on many waters. With her the kings of the earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her adulterers." Then the angel carried me away in the spirit into a desert. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was covered with blasphemous names and had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and was glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. She held a golden cup in her hand filled with the abominable things and the filth of her adulteries. This title was written on her forehead: Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and of the abominations of the earth. I saw that the woman was drunk with blood of the saints, the blood of those who bore testimony to Jesus. When I saw her, I was greatly astonished. Then the angel said to me, "Why are you astonished? I will explain to you the mystery of the woman, of the beast she rides, which has 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast which you saw once was, now is not, and will come up of the abyss and go to his destruction in the inhabitants of the earth, whose names have not been written in the book of life from the creation of the world, will be astonished when they see the beast, because once he was, now is not, and yet will come. Remember, I've been saying I don't want to be the harbinger of doom and gloom. That feckless evil penis wrinkle just took on the power of a king. We fought a king for our independence. COVID was created and put out for power. Election was changed and infiltrated, and COVID was used as a premise for mail-in ballots to get the results they wanted for power. This is what tyranny looks like. They're coming for your kids. First, wait. Let's go through the progression here. First, it was the deplorables, and before that, the Tea Party and all the trouble everyone caused. Then deplorable, it was just, we were called names, and we wore them, branded ourselves with them. Go ahead, bring it. Bring your war words. Then we became white supremacists, the biggest threat. The biggest threat, bigger than COVID, bigger than Al-Qaeda. Because after the white supremacy and 1/6, which was staged to make us then terrorists. And right now on the terror watch list is not Al-Qaeda. It's not the guy who is working and is head of state in the Taliban that has a $10 million bounty on his head. No. On the eve of 9/11, it's the eve, we, deplorable white supremacist terrorists that have been compared to the Taliban, where we shouldn't be allowed in hospitals because we're unvaxxed. Now we are the scourge of the earth. And people with Christian beliefs are not exempt anymore. Now it's an attack on your faith, which is against the Constitution. But this is no longer a president. This is a king. And because of what he did in Afghanistan, which was on purpose, it has brought together China, Iran, Turkey, Pakistan, Russia, it's bringing the horns on the beast together to wage war on the earth. Lord, what were you thinking leaving me here for end times? I don't get it. I don't get it. Where all I do is talk in a microphone, people listen to me, I try to make people laugh, but this isn't funny anymore. Maybe that fear that I was so embarrassed of. I was so embarrassed, but I made the damn video anyway. So embarrassed of being filled with so much fear. It's there for a reason. It's there for a reason, because it's time to prepare. And I know we all want to, people complaining, why aren't we out in the street like they are in Paris and Australia and Italy, Canada, Brazil? Why aren't we out in the street? Because January 6th, they labeled us terrorists, and everyone's afraid of being marked and locked up. I feel the same way. Do you know how bad I want to go in the city for 9/11? I have yet to go and see all the hallowed ground, they call it, the new Greek church. Looks like a temple. I've never been there since 9/11. I think I've been in the city twice, or through the city more. I've traveled through it to get somewhere else, because 9/11 screwed me up so bad. But I would love to go and see Joe and throw my shoe. Do you know I'm having dreams of throwing my shoes? Of the newest one was I had a megaphone and I filibustered. I went through every rotten thing this man has done. I cursed, I shouted. People got out of my way and let me keep going, and he just sat up there with his head down, and I kept going. No one stops me. I keep shouting, and all the things that he's done, and how he's filled my soul with fear, and I rebuked him till I got up on the dais, and I'm standing there with the megaphone, and people are listening to me. And they took him away. The Secret Service took him away. And I wake up shaking. You know, when you confront somebody, the adrenaline, like, I hate fighting with people. I hate it. I shake. And it's not because I'm scared. It's the adrenaline. It's that pent up anger that I've suppressed for 58 years. This anger, and I shake. My whole body shakes. I wake up like this, shaking, because it was so real. There needs to be a shaking. If everyone, whoever watched this one, anyone watched this man right here? He said it's not about freedom. As he snarled and said, no, it's I'm just going to play it. It's a little put together thing. A few of these statements.
Among the unvaccinated with new vaccination requirements. This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you, the people you work with, the people you care about, the people you love. I'm announcing that the Department of Labor is developing an emergency rule to require all employers with 100 or more employees that together employ over 80 million workers to ensure their workforces are fully vaccinated or show a negative test at least once a week. Get vaccinated.
And he walks away. I am hurting, and I'm brokenhearted. After 9/11, my heart was broken for my beautiful city. And my country came together, and we all consoled each other. This man just put bounties on our heads. He said, I understand you vaccinated people, how angry you are that you can't get back to your life because of the unvaccinated. So where we should be hated because we voted for Trump, where we should be hated because we're white supremacists, where we should be hated because we're deplorables, where we should be hated now because we're unvaccinated, where we should be hated because we're racist. The division. He has drawn the line. Joe has officially divided the nation. So, who's going to be brave enough to get out in the street? Who's going to be able to organize it when they're watching all our social media? Where they're watching your emails, where they're watching your text messages. This has been the plan all along. Who's going to organize it? You see what's happening with that guy that's trying to have people, what is it, the 18th? They're putting the fence up again. Because they want the political prisoners who have been solitary confinement let go. You're seeing the stories of people let out of jail that have raped, that have killed. They're let out on bail. Bail's put up for them. Hell, Kamala collected money for them. But these guys, some of them weren't even in the Capitol. They were outside the Capitol, and they've been locked up for 8 months. But they're going to put up the fence. We have an open border. Anybody and their freaking 10 cousins from Yemen can walk in. We're flying in people unvetted with their child brides, women being raped on planes. I don't know who's letting them rape on the planes. Got tent cities all over the place. They're coming to our military bases. And they just leave and get an Uber. We're being invaded. And I think it's more sinister than voting Democrat. It's much more sinister. Now, you can they're staging a walkout. Friday, everyone's walking out of schools. They're walking out of their jobs. That's all well and good. Well, guess what? Joe's imported over 1 million people to do your job. And they'll get a translator, so they'll get 2 jobs. They'll get a translator for the people to do your job. This is the purge without guns. And they call Trump a tyrant. I'm watching this insanity, and it's biblical. It's biblical. We know this is gonna happen, but to see it with your own eyes, you can taste it, you can see it. You go out in the street, it's everywhere. The vax holes, the mask holes. But you're the enemy. All you want to do is live your life, do your job, love your family. What's he going to do with those college stadiums with all those kids? Is he going to give them a fine? Is he going to make stormtroopers go in there and round them up? I want to see your papers! This is what the Nazis did. This is nuts. It's like I want to cry. I want to laugh. I'm kind of numb. I can't believe what I heard. And you know what? I could go back and make more clips of the way he moved his mouth and snarled. And he mentioned Fox. And it's like, yeah, Fox is getting a shot. And right after his speech, Brett Baer comes on, and he's got the Inspector General, the Indian guy that's always in front of a green screen. He looks fake all the time. Had him sitting there, and then the other guy in charge of the schools, the fat ass. And they had little videos of people calling in. They made videos of their questions. And oh, it was so nice. They answered all those questions. Yes, if you're pregnant, we don't see any problem getting the shot. Yes. It's all beautiful. Brett Baer, that called Arizona. Brett Baer. Now, right before I came on, I was watching the end of War Room. That's why I've been doing 7 o'clock, because I found out, thankfully, from someone in my Telegram that Steve is going to be going an extra hour at 5 o'clock till September 11th. He's supposed to be doing September 11th specials. But with all that's going on, it's like, how can I mourn September 11th when this piece of crap has just put everybody on blast? That has made me one of America's most wanted, but it does deals with the FBI's most wanted in Afghanistan. They will do anything to change the narrative. Doesn't mention Afghanistan anymore. I'm so numb. I have this on my Telegram. This is... Oh, here it is. Mitch McConnell. I'm sorry. It's so hard to think. My head is very hot. Mitch McConnell, it just came over the wire on Bannon War Room. He said everyone's got to get the shot. Mitch McConnell is on board with China and the New World Order. Mitch McConnell. Trump warned us. He told us, Mitch the bitch and his wife with China, he told us all of this was going to happen. And I don't know if he's got Project Looking Glass or anything. I think anyone with common sense that knows these people and have watched them and what they're capable of, just common sense would tell you that this would happen. Anyone that reads the Bible could see this was coming. I felt it in my gut. Over just fear. Something bad was coming, and it's going to get worse. Now, Biden wants to force the Republicans to vote on the debt ceiling, sensing they'll cave. There's also an article saying, well, we can manipulate Joe Manchin. They don't care. They want this to happen. There are people that want to watch the world burn. There are people that welcome the Antichrist. There are Christians that welcome this because they think they're going to be taken up. There are people that are talking this into existence. They're speeding it up. It's happening so fast, one thing after another. I really don't think God's done with us yet. That gives me peace. And I know I'm going to heaven. That gives me peace. But there's still so many people that are still asleep. You know, I rant and rave how we left Americans in Afghanistan. What about all those people that will be stuck on scorched earth when they usher in their apocalypse? Some will survive it and then will be judged, second judgment. It's just so much to think about. This is like, I'm publicly soul searching right now. Like, do I give a shit or not? My whole life, and this is the truth I tell you right now, I always, why a bitch like her? There was always a bitch, a nasty, selfish bitch in every circle I've ever been in that got everything she wanted, never worried about a thing, laughed at everything. Didn't care whose feelings she stomped on, didn't care about anything. And I would just look, sometimes in awe, and say, why couldn't I be a bitch like that? I'd be a rock star already. Why do I have to have all these feelings? Why do I have to care about what people think? Why do I let people pick on me? Why do I just walk away from fights? Why can't I be a bitch like that? Now I know why. Because I was chosen and was never supposed to be a bitch like that. That's the whore of Babylon. And unless she gives herself to Jesus, she's going to go to a very bad place. And just now, saying this to you guys was something I haven't thought about. It feels like centuries. I just realized why I'm here. And why I never became a bitch like that. because if I did, I wouldn't be talking to you. If I did, I wouldn't be making these video clips and showing people the truth. My son, raising him right, telling him the truth, and he's telling other people. He's out there working, talking to people all over the tri-state area. Feel very humble right now. Very humble. So, I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing. Just keep doing. Now, this was the kicker that made me think revelation. This guy that keeps coming on War Room and all his articles, I mean, it's out there. The mark of the beast, what they've been doing, the whole plan, one world order, build back better, whatever they want to call it at the moment. He researches this and finds articles that are out there in the open. They're not hiding it. I told you, a vampire has to be invited in. For their spells to work, they have to show you what they are. And are in action or not paying attention, they're able to go on. They're able to do it. Why do you think all these rich guys can't get off the planet fast enough? They're Satanists and they know what's happening. Where we have a Bible that tells us how it ends, what's got to happen, they talk to algorithms that tell them. They use their AI. They have their focus groups. They have their scholars. They have their own little Nostradamuses telling them things. These guys are building rockets to get the hell out of here. What do they know? It's not just for fun. Trust me. Nobody just wants to get in a rocket and go. Let me play this.
Well, Steve, I agree with Naomi Wolf completely. What we're seeing is an expression of biofascism with this obsession with public hygiene. I would only say, I would add to it that if you look at the broader picture, it's not going to stop with vaccine mandates. 2 weeks ago, you had Parag Khanna, a groomed World Economic Forum agenda contributor, celebrating that the Great Lockdown has led to the Great Reset, which will lead to the great migration of billions of people from the global south to the global north. He was also advocating in an interview with the Skift Forum that we should institute integrated blockchain-based digital passports that would contain your vaccination records, your financial statements, your criminal history, your travel history, and ultimately you're talking about creating a digital twin that you have to carry with you in order to access the goods of society or maintain social status. It goes again, even farther than that. I mean, 2 days after he made that statement, you had the WHO released a paper. It's the digital documentation of COVID-19 certification. And they were laying out the technical specifications of how this would work with QR codes that you would have to either have printed out or more than likely on your smartphone, that in order to access, say in New York, any place to eat or public transportation, or in the case of world travelers to get across borders, you would have to have this QR code that, if people like Parag Khanna have their way, ultimately will lead to a much broader sort of restrictive system it's all about technocratic control. It has very little to do, or maybe nothing to do, with health and safety at this point, and has everything to do with submission, with control, and it's beyond disturbing. This WHO report was funded, of course, by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But they've been all about this for years. In December of 2019, Smithsonian Magazine published a write-up of a Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation funded operation that had to be conducted in the third world in places like Bangladesh and Malawi, in which they're giving people they're giving people bioluminescent tattoos. It's fluorescent nanoparticles that are injected by way of microneedles in order to track your vaccination history. And the reason they did it in these countries is because they knew that in Western countries with a Christian mythos underpinning their civilizations, that the implications of having to take a mark that in order to buy, sell, or trade, you had to submit to this, you could call it a beast, in order to conduct your life. I really do believe that, yes.
Hang on a second. I want to make sure, now you've just quoted 7 articles. I want to make sure, and I'm one of the staff here, I want all 7 articles up in every platform right now. This is going to be throwing stuff out there because this stuff is quite confusing. I'll send them immediately. And I want to make sure that every time we come on here, particularly you, because you're talking about stuff that's in these highly technical journals, and I keep telling people it's all out there. It's not conspiracy. It's all up in your face. It's just happening. And these are some of the most prominent journals in the world, peer-reviewed journals, also some of the best scientific or some of the top and leading scientific journals in the world, and, of course, the WHO. Joe, we got to bounce. How do you get to
Let's go look at one of these articles, okay? Here's one. This is from Smithsonian Magazine. This spiky patch, and you can see the picture if you look on the side there. This spiky patch could invisibly record vaccination history under the skin. The human body is an extraordinary record keeper. Tattooed into its skin are the scars of old wounds. Archived in the molecules of the immune system are the traces of past infections. But when that history gets translated into written medical records, things can quickly get dicey. Every lost sheet of paper or an accurately tallied statistic can raise a person's risk of receiving inadequate care, an especially pressing issue in low and middle income countries where health care resources are often scarce and inaccessible. Now, didn't that sound nice? Like we're caring. We're going to these impoverished countries and we're going to put the little tab under the skin, like what's his name was just talking about, the luminescent tattoo, because we don't have paper in impoverished countries, so we can use this nanotech and have all the medical records ready so we don't lose the paper. You know, just like we don't need paper ballots anymore. Let's use machines. Let the machines take care of everything. Just like Biden tonight. You do it for the people you love. You do it for the people you work with. You do it for your family. You do it for your neighbor. We're caring. You're a caring person. This is why you give up your freedoms, because you're not that bitch. about that, bitch. We're about love. You're that bitch because you won't succumb to our tyranny. Everything we do is with love. You want to be like us. We're the smart people. We're the elites. We know what's best for you. Everything we do is with good intention. It's for you. We care about you. You want to do this because you're a loving person. You're not a Christian. You're not a Catholic. You're one of us. If that doesn't sound like a lie from the pit of hell, Satan himself talking, people wake the fuck up. They're manipulating. Did you hear I was talking? Wasn't it soothing? Didn't it make you want to listen and be that good person? It's like a fucking MK Ultra trip. You're a good person. You have to do this. Back to the article. Now, a team led by MIT scientists have come forward with a bold proposition that could write a legible vaccination history back into the body's repertoire.